What if you never truly belong anywhere? No matter where you go, it feels like you're on the outside looking in, watching people connect effortlessly while you struggle to fit in. You tell yourself it's just in your head, but deep down, you can't shake the feeling that you don't quite belong. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. The reason you feel like an outsider isn't what you think, and once you understand why, everything can change. Ready to uncover what's really holding you back? Feeling like an outsider isn't just about being shy or introverted. It often comes from something much deeper, unseen barriers that keep you disconnected from the world around you. Maybe you grew up feeling different from your family, classmates, or peers. Perhaps you were the quiet one in a loud group, the dreamer among realists, or the one with interests no one else seemed to share. Over time, this feeling of being different turns into an identity, making it even harder to connect. But here's the thing, feeling like an outsider isn't always about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself. If you've convinced yourself that you don't fit in, your brain starts looking for proof everywhere. You'll notice when people don't invite you, when a conversation dies out after you speak, or when others seem closer to each other than they are to you. But what you might not see are the moments when people actually do include you, when they enjoy your presence, or when they're just as insecure about belonging as you are. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. Your mind finds evidence for whatever you already believe. If you believe you don't belong, you'll find proof of it, even if it's not really there. This can lead to self-sabotage, like holding back in conversations, avoiding eye contact, or staying quiet in group settings. The irony? These behaviors make you seem distant, which then reinforces your belief that you don't fit in. To break this cycle, start paying attention to moments when people do engage with you. Maybe someone asks your opinion, smiles at you, or invites you to join a conversation. These moments might feel small, but they're proof that you're not as disconnected as you think. The more you notice them, the more your brain rewires itself to see connection instead of rejection. You'll begin to realize that fitting in isn't about waiting for others to invite you. It's about recognizing the invitations that are already there, whether it's someone smiling at you or offering you their attention. Another way to combat these feelings is by changing the way you perceive group dynamics. Next time you're in a social setting, observe how people behave rather than focusing on yourself. You might find that others feel just as uncomfortable or unsure about how they come across. By shifting your focus from "do I belong" to "how can I engage," you'll start feeling less like an outsider. Most people think belonging means being similar to those around you, but that's not true. Belonging isn't about fitting into a group. It's about feeling accepted for who you are. The reason so many people struggle with this is that they're trying to force themselves into spaces where they don't naturally align. Instead of finding where they truly connect, they spend energy trying to be someone they're not. Think about the times you've tried to fit in. Did you change your personality? Hide parts of yourself? Maybe you forced yourself to laugh at jokes you didn't find funny or pretended to be interested in things that bored you. The more you did this, the more exhausting socializing became. Because you weren't connecting, you were performing. And after enough of this, you probably withdrew, feeling even more like an outsider. But here's what most people don't realize. The people who feel the most comfortable in social settings aren't the ones who try to fit in. They're the ones who accept themselves completely. When you stop chasing approval and start focusing on genuine connections, everything shifts. Take, for example, someone who is comfortable in their own skin, despite their quirks or differences. It could be someone who speaks their mind even when others might not agree with them, or someone who isn't afraid to show vulnerability in a conversation. This person might not have the most friends, but they have meaningful connections with the people they are truly aligned with, and that's what matters most. The process of aligning with people who understand you doesn't require you to be anyone other than yourself. In fact, the more you embrace your true identity, the more likely you are to attract the right people, those who appreciate you for who you are. This is how you build meaningful relationships that go beyond superficial interactions. One way to practice this is by getting comfortable with small moments of self-expression. Share an opinion, talk about your real interests, or wear something that genuinely reflects your style. These small acts of authenticity help you attract the right people, those who appreciate you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. Another major reason people feel like outsiders: social anxiety. When you're anxious in social situations, your brain plays tricks on you. It makes you hyper-aware of how you're coming across, overanalyzing every word, every expression, and every silence. You assume people are judging you, when in reality, most people are too busy thinking about themselves to focus on you. Social anxiety also makes you interpret neutral situations as negative. If someone doesn't text back right away, you assume they're ignoring you. If people are laughing, you wonder if they're laughing at you. If a conversation conversation feels awkward, you blame yourself instead of recognizing that awkwardness is just part of human interaction. One of the biggest mindset shifts you can make is realizing that nobody is scrutinizing you as much as you think. People forget most social interactions within minutes. That awkward thing you said at a party, no one remembers. The moment of silence in a conversation, normal. The reality is, people are often worried about how they're being perceived too. Try reframing your social anxiety. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this situation?" Each uncomfortable social interaction is an opportunity to grow more confident and resilient. By embracing discomfort instead of avoiding it, you'll start to see yourself as someone who can handle awkwardness rather than someone who is controlled by it. Another useful strategy is mindfulness. Focus on the present moment instead of worrying about the future. When you become aware of your thoughts and how they affect your emotions, you can begin to separate reality from your anxious interpretations. Practice grounding techniques like deep breathing or body scans to help calm your nervous system. The more you practice, the less power social anxiety will have over you. The final and most important step in overcoming the feeling of being an outsider, owning who you are, fully and unapologetically. The people who attract deep, meaningful connections aren't the ones who try to fit in everywhere. They're the ones who stand firmly in their uniqueness, embracing their authentic selves without fear. Think about the people you admire. Are they constantly trying to be like everyone else? No, they embrace their quirks, their flaws, and their differences, and that's what makes them magnetic. When you own who you are, you give others permission to do the same. Instead of feeling like an outsider, you become a person others are drawn to because of your confidence and authenticity. You begin to radiate a magnetic energy that invites connection rather than seeking validation. Start by asking yourself, what parts of me have I been hiding? What interests, opinions, or traits have I been downplaying to fit in? Then, take small steps to bring those parts forward. Speak up about what you love, wear what makes you happy, and let go of the fear of rejection. The more you embrace your true self, the more comfortable you'll become in your own skin. Because here's the truth, you don't need everyone to accept you, just the right people. And the right people can only find you when you're showing up as your true self. Embrace your flaws, your awkward moments, and your imperfections. The more you do, the more you'll realize that belonging isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. And the right people will always gravitate toward authenticity, because authentic connections are built on trust and honesty. When you're comfortable being you, you'll be amazed at how many doors open and how many true connections you make. Feeling like an outsider isn't about where you are, it's about how you see yourself. The moment you stop looking for external validation and start embracing who you truly are, everything changes. You realize that belonging isn't about fitting into a mold, it's about finding the people and places where you're accepted as you are. So the next time you feel like you don't belong, remember this: you've always belonged to yourself, and that's where true connection begins.